Thank you, wonderful program directors. We thank you, and let's give them a round of applause because they've really done a good job. I have already done my protocols in the morning and will not go into them. And distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the 5th South African Investment Conference. Having now officially concluded the first phase of our National Investment Mobilization Drive, we can say this has really been a watershed conference in that we have now reached, remember we had said 1.2 trillion, we've now hit 1.51 trillion in commitments. Meaning that we have overachieved and overshot our initial 1.2 trillion rand target by 26%, a whopping 301 billion rand. By so doing, we have honored the undertaking we made to the people of South Africa in 2018 that we would attract new investments that were much needed in our economy. We would attract all those investments from overseas and from our internal companies to support the growth of local businesses and create more jobs. When we set out on this very audacious and ambitious path 5 years ago, none of us could have foreseen that the world would have been struck by a deadly pandemic and that there would be turmoil in the world as well economically. Nor could any of us have imagined the lingering impact on investment, on businesses, on jobs, and on livelihoods, even years after the existential threat of pandemic that we faced. For us to have been able to meet our 5-year target despite the major challenges and disruptions is no mean feat. It is a stellar achievement. We should all be very proud of having achieved this, and I think we deserve to give ourselves a big round of applause for that. Now, today's commitments cover 21 district municipalities across our country. A number of these investments aren't only bringing much needed economic activities to those localities, they are also supporting our overall national development goals. Infrastructure development is one of the key areas of focus that drive economic growth, and as I've often said, is the flywheel that drives our country's economic growth. When we talk about investment in the cause of development, infrastructure is at the center of that. Infrastructure development meets pressing community needs and often leaves behind a legacy for future generations. By way of example, a few years ago, Cyril stood on this platform and announced at this investment conference their plans to build the Msikaba Bridge, the longest and highest cable-stayed suspension bridge in Africa. On a superficial level, this bridge connects peoples and the economies of the Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, but it is a far deeper story about integrated development. Iron ore for its construction is being mined in the Northern Cape, transported to KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng to be converted into steel blooms and plates fabricated in Mpumalanga, and finally assembled in the Eastern Cape, where the bridge is being finalized and constructed. For each step in an infrastructure development value chain, jobs are created, small businesses and suppliers are supported, and skills are also impacted. Over the 4-year period of our investment drive, we have realized approximately 263 billion rand in investment for infrastructure development. Not counted in this figure is the hundreds of billions of rands that are being spent on local and other public infrastructure by the 3 spheres of government. Through Infrastructure SA, we are hard at work driving the implementation of other key strategic infrastructure projects in water and sanitation. This includes bulk water projects, such as Phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands water project, the Podihadi Dam, which I will be going to do sword turning with the Prime Minister of Lesotho soon, the Mzimvubu water project, the Umkomasi water project, the Mokolo Crocodile River water augmentation project, and many others. A number of other strategic infrastructure projects are either in preparation or under construction in energy, transport, digital infrastructure, agriculture, as well as human settlements. Today, there have been commitments from several companies and entities to invest in property development and logistics. Now, that is to be welcomed. Now, this includes luxury resorts and mixed-use developments, but also in social infrastructure projects like student accommodation, which is much needed in our country, as the number of students who are going to colleges and universities are growing by leaps and bounds, and we have to accommodate them as they come from far-flung areas, the rural areas, our townships, and they need to have spaces where they can learn properly. The South African National Roads Agency, SANRAL, is also investing 19.7 billion in the construction of various roads, bridges, and other critical transport infrastructure. Now, they also have to pay attention to the potholes that are currently littering our entire country. Now, that is the task that they are also going to undertake. And they are a good operator. They are able to build roads that are durable, and they play a key role in the infrastructure development of our country. In my opening remarks this morning, I said that by leveraging our strengths and unique value proposition, we will attract higher levels of investment. South Africa's unique value proposition is the diversity as well as the sophistication of our economy. Unlike many other countries whose national economies were founded in and remained reliant on the extractive sectors, we have a diverse economy, and the breadth of investments are indicative of these opportunities that exist. Today, we have seen investment commitments across a range of sectors. They include the 1 billion investment by Turkey's Menar Group in thermal coal mining in Mpumalanga. The Siriti Group's 4.5 billion investment in a wind energy project in Mpumalanga as well. US-based MOVE's 284 million investment in e-logistics. And we're breaking into new sectors of our economy. Hive's hydrogen's massive 105 billion investment in a green hydrogen production facility in Gqoga in the Eastern Cape. Hive's investment in the Eastern Cape will see not only the construction of a green ammonia production plant, but the company also has plans to construct a seawater desalination plant capable of meeting approximately 50% of the water needs of the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. Now, this is phenomenal. This is something that we need to applaud, because breaking into an area like desalination, where we are surrounded by almost 4,700 kilometers of sea around our shores, our country, this is breaking new ground. It's going into areas we've never really gone into before. Bringing development and creating jobs is the true measurement of the success of these 5 conferences. Investors are keenly aware of the impediments to faster growth and development, but they also see the progress that we are making in fixing these problems. This morning I was quite candid about the challenges that our country faces, and I also did explain that we are in the process of fixing many of these challenges. This was well expressed by the panelists who contributed their thoughts and ideas during the course of this conference, particularly on how collaboration between government, business, and civil society, including workers, would be the best solution to many of our challenges. I do sincerely believe that as investors, you can see the capabilities of the people of this country, the resilience of our institutions, and our own determination to forge ahead with a structural reform path that will make us the continent's premier investment destination. It is only with your investment that we can bring about the equitable, sustainable development that can forever transform the fortunes of our great country. We need to see the achievement of our initial 5-year target as an opportunity to deepen our collaboration, to achieve even more ambitious targets in future. The success of this first phase must really be used as a springboard towards a recovered, restructured, and inclusive new economy. As government and the private sector, we have proven ourselves capable of moving forward together, of working in unison in pursuit of the common good. Even in difficult times, we've been able to do that. We did so exceptionally well during the pandemic. We have done so with this investment drive, and now aim to replicate this collaboration as we address challenges with regard to energy, logistics, crime, and corruption as well, which I referred to this morning. So I call on every one of us in this room to recommit ourselves to the common good that is South Africa's development. Now, I want to thank the sponsors who sponsored us to be able to have this world-class investment conference. I thank them for their generosity, and these include the Industrial Development Corporation, Vodacom, Anglo-American, ARM, Exxaro, Google, Thungela Resources, Huawei, Samsung, South African Breweries, Discovery, Transnet, and Coca-Cola. I also want to thank our partners, the IDC and Brand South Africa. Let us give them a good round of applause because they have enabled us to hold this conference. And I do want to thank the Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition, Ibrahim Patel, and the Ministerial Steering Committee, who have been working to ensure that this conference is a success. And I want to thank our investment envoys, Ms. Phumzile Langeni, Mr. Jacob Marie, Mr. Mcebisi Jonas, Mr. Trevor Manuel, Mr. Derek Hanekom, and Mr. Jeff Hadebe for their dedication to the task of promoting South Africa as an attractive and dependable investment destination. I thank them because I've been on a number of trips with them around the world, Whenever we have had state visits, they come along and they participate in the business fora, but they often even precede our visits because they go out and mobilize investments for our country, and much of what we have reaped today is also attributable to them. So thank you very much to the investment envoys. I also wish to thank my economic advisor, Ms. Trudy Makaya, who has been central to the effort to promote investment and grow the economy over the last years. I also want to thank the organizing committee that has a number of dedicated civil servants and all the government departments who participated in enabling this conference to be so successful, as well as 8 agencies and entities that have contributed to making this conference so successful, including Invest SA team. Thanks also go to our partners in business, in labor, civil society for supporting this investment conference. The past 5 years have shown what we are indeed capable of as a nation. They've shown our resilience, our determination, our ability to make progress, even under the most difficult of circumstances. We currently are going through a number of challenges, but despite this, we are able to have a very successful conference where we've mobilized way above the target that we set 5 years ago. As we close this 5th South African Investment Conference, we look to the next 5 years with greater confidence and ambition. I now officially announce the countdown to the mobilization of 2 trillion rand over the next 5 years, or better still, over the next 1,825 days. That's the calculation. So I'd like to say thank you very much, and particularly many of you who have been coming to each investment conference, some of you who were announcing your commitments here. One gentleman here who is investing in KZN, who announced 4 billion. He says at the first investment conference, we said we would invest 4 billion. And he said, President, we have invested that, and we want you to come and open the facility that we invested the 4 billion rand in. So many of your companies have been really gracing this investment conference and coming here, and I'd like to say keep coming, keep bringing those billions and investing in our economy. But thank you very much. This has been a truly successful conference. Thank you. See you next year.
Another round of applause for President Cyril Ramaphosa.